Hey guys, thanks for listening to The Cynical Nerd. Please keep in mind that we do not avoid spoilers for any of our topics, whether they are current or past media. Listen at your own risk.
I don't know why I'm doing that. While I was waiting for you, I was like, let me see if any late breaking news has dropped. And you'll be very excited to know that it has, Derek. They've released a trailer for Meg 2, The Trench, starring Jason Statham. And the tagline on the poster is New Meg, Old Chum.
Damn.
And that's so good.
It's pretty good. Did you see Meg 1? Is that something that was on your watch list?
No. So I'm sure if listeners listen closely, they will hear my wife shriek up the stairs at me. Samantha thinks she does an incredible Jason Statham impression.
Oh shit.
She likes to go, Mr. Megalodon. And she's god awful at it, and I love her. And
I gotta hear this now.
She does some impressions really good, but that's not one of them.
Not one of the. It doesn't make the cut, right?
Yeah. So I preemptively know that I'm going to get interrupted by a 4-year-old.
Right.
I said, Daddy has to go upstairs tonight, and he knows what that means. So he was like, "Tell me when I can come up and say hi to Uncle Derek." So you're just part of his routine now.
It's cool. No. Stop right there. He's part of my routine. Let's get this. I want to get this sorted out.
This is very nice.
Yeah, he's a part of my routine.
When he comes up, make sure you ask him what the name of our band is going to be. I won't
like you and him.
No, well, me, him, and Samantha.
Oh,
she's gonna be lead vocals, dude.
All right, very, very cool, very cool.
How you doing? How's things?
Not too bad. It's finals week. I'm stressing out. I took a what do you call
Xanax.
it? Like a practice test. Yeah, Xanax. Yeah, to really just mainlining them.
The ambience.
Yeah, and some ambience to bring me down. You know, I took a practice test before this, and I was like so confident, and I did very poorly on it. So I'm really scared. And as soon as we're done here, I'm going to do the real thing with almost no study time in between those two things.
Yeah.
But I feel like I learned what I had to learn from the practice test.
Right.
And I'm ready to go. How are you? I'm freaking out. Let's not talk about it. What's going on with you?
Realistically, this podcast is a great exercise in jostling loose the neuro connections in your brain, opening up your cerebellum. I don't know where I'm going with this.
Well, it's an economics course, and I feel like we really hash out a lot of economic stuff. So
we do. We talk a lot about money and our lack of it in our pockets. Oh,
true.
There he is. Okay, here, I'm going to give you the headset. We're going to make this quick. Here, come climb on up. This man's wasting no time. No, you don't.
Goo goo ga 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 goo goo goo.
No, don't touch the mic.
Hey, I have a question for you.
Wait.
What is are you and your mom and dad starting a band? Yeah? What's the name of the band?
You tell Daddy.
Tell him? I can't hear him. You gotta tell him.
Yeah, you gotta tell me. You gotta be the one.
Is it so what's your nickname? Rocky?
Yeah.
And my nickname is Rockstar.
Yeah.
And Mommy's is Holtas.
Yes. And then what's the name of the band?
The band is Nuevas.
Yes.
Nuevas.
Yeah, he made that up.
Very nice. Very good.
Yeah. Is that English? What language is that?
English.
English. What instrument are you playing? Stop pushing back.
You're playing guitars. I'll play drums. And then Mommy can sing.
Mommy's gonna sing. Cool.
I feel like that's a good lineup.
What?
You forgot to tell Uncle Derek what Mommy's name is.
What's her name? Her name is Holtas.
Yes.
Holtas.
All right, say goodnight.
Good night, Dad.
Good night, buddy.
Good night.
I feel like you almost called him Dad there. You want to tell me something?
Good night.
All right. Oh. Love you. Don't come back up. Bye, good night.
What an adorable child you made. My God.
He's a handful. I'm not going to lie.
It's not always fun.
He's pretty cute.
He is a cute kid. He's got that going for him.
9.10 on the cute Richter scale.
Yeah.
Because he also creates earthquakes when he runs around the house. That's why I said Richter scale.
Right. Very nice.
Practical. What were we talking about? I don't know.
The Meg or something? We can move on from that, right? It doesn't. I don't think that really needs any more attention.
It's episode 98.
That was a slurp right into the mic. I'm sorry. Totally
98.
unintentional.
That feels great. 98. That feels great. Okay. We're probably gonna have a short sode tonight. There's not a ton of news. Also, if you'll remember, Derek, if you'll think back, if you'll hark back to last week, we had a late episode last week. We recorded on a Wednesday, which we almost never do.
It's a very weird day to do it.
But we had already skipped like 2 weeks at that point, so we didn't want to push it again. And just by luck of the draw, there hasn't been a huge ton of news that came out. But we have things to talk about. We have a few week in review items, not much. One trailer, that's it. And then we have a couple things for main topics. Sweet Tooth season 2 is out. We did episode 1 and 2. We have the whole of Star Wars Visions season 2 to talk about. I put in Barry thoughts. I know they're in the middle of the final season. I'm caught up now to the final season, and I figured we could talk about that just a little bit. And then talk about if you have anything you want to bring up for Dave. I'm okay not doing Dave. I'm okay waiting until it's done. But if there's anything that sticks out that you're like,
I feel like Dave is like a push till it's done type thing.
Yeah, that's fine. I just want to shout out that the first episode where he's talking about looking for love and meets that chick and he finds out she's was manipulating him to try and get in his pants was amazing, devastating, and has set the tone for the whole season so far. And the show is fantastic, and I can't wait for more of it.
It really is good. It really is a bittersweet show. I feel like let me just leave it at this. I feel like remember when Louis, his show dropped called Louis, and it was like people called it like a love letter to the Gen X generation, like the forgotten generation that everybody kind of glossed over. I feel like Dave is like that for millennials. Like we're in that weird growing up, you're still kind of a kid, but like not really anymore, and you have to start actually like employing the shit that you're learning. It captures that bittersweetness so fucking well. That being said, I'd rather watch it as a whole and just comment on the whole thing. Yeah. And also the piss and cum segment from episode, I think it was 2 or 3. Every time I think of it, I start crying because it was so fucking hilarious.
He's like, is this too much? He's like, oh, this is ridiculous. I'm in a puddle. It's so great.
And the guy gets offended. Hey, I worked really hard on that.
Yeah, when he's like, yeah. He was like, why is it hard? And he was like, what do you mean? He said, you're coming. He goes, no, that was the magic of it. I was completely flaccid. I was like, piss and cum. It's a really good show. And just to give that episode one shout out before we move on, the way that they make this whole thing from his perspective and how she basically manipulates him from his eyes. And then at the end you get that it's that classic bittersweet gut punch where she's like, they have it out. Mm-hmm. And she's like, I didn't have a good home life. Like I was cutting myself. Like, she's like, and Dave's like, oh, like, I didn't know that. And it's the whole show is, I love it so far.
Yeah.
Okay. Onto our stuff and things. Episode 98. I said that already before we begin. Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, even though I haven't updated it in God knows how long, at The Cynical Nerd. I will be putting more stuff up there, I promise. It's just difficult to get free time outside of a newborn. I'm going to throw that guilt trip at everybody. And appreciation for fucking newborn mothers of newborns. Because Jesus, man, he's in that like 6 to 8 week like gassy period.
Yeah, that's a fucking nightmare. People who are like, my kid didn't have gas problems. I'm like, I hope you die. I hope you run off a fucking bridge on your way home. Fuck
and the thing is, by normal standards, both Grayson and now Archer have not had like bad gas problems. They've been what I would call like pretty standard, blasé, like, run of the mill gas problems. Not colic, but definitely not okay because, their intestines are all maturing and they like, there's times where he eats and we burp him. And he's calm and he falls asleep and he wakes up 20 minutes later screaming. And it's like the middle of the night when you're exhausted and you're like, God damn it, if you weren't so cute.
Have you ever had to put that thing into his asshole to make him fart? Either of them?
No, but Samantha was literally thinking about getting one.
Do it.
Did you do it?
Someone told me about it and I was like, that is so barbaric and weird. And you're weird for telling it to me.
Yeah.
And we were so desperate one night. We hadn't slept in days because he hadn't slept. Like, he just couldn't stay asleep because he was so gassy. And we did it, and it fucking worked, man. And
what's it called?
Oh man, it's called it's a weird name, like a tootie or something like that. I will figure this out.
It's called a tub thumper, I think. It's not just a 90s hit.
It's called a tub girl. No. And then we realized this is just really, we're already talking about, manually getting the gas out of your kid's asshole. So let's just go even further. Then we realized that
it's easier to suck it out with your mouth. That's where I thought you were going. Now let me ask you. Wait, Brett. I got a fresh exit survey for you. I feel like I said that with a pretty straight face on. Did I achieve that? Or not?
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's why it fucking eviscerated me.
All right, good.
We realized that it was much more discreet and it didn't feel as weird to just take his temperature, because then you're getting two things at once, right? You get a temp check and you get a fart, and it doesn't look like you're shoving something in your kid's ass. So it's like there's a kind of a trickle use there. So
you
those
can
are
do
my
it in public
suggestions.
without fear of people thinking that you're like, really hurting them.
Yeah. Precisely.
I forget what the word is for that.
Sodomizing.
Sodomizing.
Yeah.
I was on the tip of my tongue. Just never mind. Not off the back of a Newbern joke. Okay. I feel like we're killing it right now. All right, listen. The first things first, we have a promotion to talk about. Not to either of us. Do you know who Jim Lee is? I feel like the answer is yes.
Do I know what? I'm sorry. Say that one more time.
Do you know who Jim Lee is?
I do. Yeah.
Excellent comic book artist. His work is very famous. He's got a very iconic style. He draws superheroes like to my 16-year-old brain the way they're supposed to look. And he has been at DC for the longest time. He's done a ton of the Batman Hush graphic novel. He did that. It looks fantastic. I love it to death. Anyway, he is now the president of DC, not DC Films, what was James Gunn's job and Peter Safran, but he's president of DC. So all things comic books, the medium, the actual, the source material, I guess you would say. And that's good for a couple of reasons. One, Gunn has talked about them uniting the brands and getting working more closely with the comic book source. He recognizes that it's not just a garbage heap to rummage through to try and find new source material for blockbusters. And I found out something interesting in this article. If you've taken note of DC doing things like putting relevant comic books at the end of trailers, like at the end of Flash, they put the Flashpoint comics up and showed you like what comics you could go look at. That's Jim Lee's thing. Like he was in charge of, he's the one who had the idea to do that kind of stuff, to promote the source material, get people interested in comics. And I want more of that. And I think that's a great idea. And, there's currently rumors that the Superman Legacy film, excuse me, I'm burping a lot, is going to have a video game come out roughly within the same time period of the movie. Which would be, if it's good, great for a couple of reasons. One, there hasn't been a good Superman game. That's right, ever. And two, it would help to tie. It would really help to knit things together. It would help to show that like the vision that he has for DC is plausible and it's working. It's working, to quote Anakin from Episode 1. I'm full of just bullshit. It rattles around up here all day long.
You just hitting me with it today. Jeez.
Now, so
tickling me.
What you may be asking yourself, dear listener, dear viewer, I don't know how you're consuming this. Would Chris and Derek be talking about this if it were Marvel? No, absolutely not. That's because this is my podcast and I like DC. And so that's what we talk about. Sorry, I said my podcast. It sounded very like you can't touch it. It's Derek and I's podcast.
No, it's his. Whenever we're off the air, he's like, "Don't forget who's in charge, bitch."
Don't forget.
He's very.
I give him the eyes. You know how they look. I don't have to do it.
I'm like, I had an idea. He's like, "Yeah, we're not going to do that. We're going to do what I want to do."
I did tell him that just today, that I had the thumbnail done for whenever we watch Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Done. You have no choice. It's
like, don't give me input because it will be neglected entirely.
Can I say something embarrassing about that?
Yeah, please tell me.
I'm sorry. You were going to say something relevant to the source.
That's okay. I want to hear what you have to say. Again, you're in control, so why don't you go first?
Oh no. I thought Buffalo Bill was based on a real serial killer named Buffalo Bill till today.
So did I till just now.
Oh,
so
okay.
I guess that's a common misconception.
Boom. He's just the killer from Silence of the Lambs. He's not.
He was never a real person. He's just a person in that movie.
Yeah. I mean, he might be like influenced by a real killer, but he himself, there was not a real guy that went by Buffalo Bill.
Can I tell you some crazy shit?
Yeah.
I've never seen Silence of the Lambs. I've never watched it. It's one of the greats that I've, you know, I always say that, like, oh, I got to watch like I have no interest in The Godfather. I just feel like I have to. That's another, that sounds funny when I say it like that. That's another one. Well, I have interest in that one though. And then like Seven, I've never seen Seven. These are all movies that are so like referenced culturally so much that I know everything that happens in them. I know the entire
what's in the
story.
box?
Yeah, what's in the box? Exactly.
Seven is a great. That's one I did say. I love that.
David Fincher. He's like one of the greatest filmmakers ever, and he's still alive making movies. And I never saw it. It's been on the list forever, and I just haven't watched it. But yeah, never saw Silence of the Lambs. I saw the other ones too. That's the fucked up part. Doesn't make any sense, but I never saw the first. Okay,
I'm forcing you to circle back. Your thoughts on Jim Lee, DC? That rhymes.
It does. It did. Fine. It be.
At a time.
The coolest thing about this to me, I'm not familiar with the comics like you are. It just seems that James Gunn, I haven't had a lot of faith in the DC acquisition like a lot of people haven't. And it seems like what they're spelling out here is that he wants like one singular vision to permeate through like all forms of media in DC, which is cool. They go ahead and mention right in this article that like Marvel is kind of notorious for not sticking to the source material and just taking sort of like snippets here and there.
Right.
Which this is always a difficult thing to talk about because I can easily find myself on either side of the aisle where it's like, all right, I don't think that you should be chained to source material to the point where you're like not willing to change anything whatsoever.
Right.
But like the obvious thing, if you look at the past 10 years where like remakes and stuff have been very, very popular, it's like the things that people attach to the most are things that do stay mostly faithful. Not always, but for the most part, that's the case. So it's cool that he's kind of like wanting to stick to those stories that have been tried and true. And you know that people like them because if it worked on the people who already like those stories, then they'll like it. And if it worked on them, it'll probably work on other people in a new medium. No, I just liked it. It mentioned like wanting to have basically like a through line between movies and video games and the comic books themselves. And it'll just I think it'll give like a sense of oneness to the universe. Yeah. Whereas Marvel, it's like the movies and then there's the comics. They're like very separate.
The comics feel very reactive to the MCU at this point too. That it's almost like it's funny because it's almost like a reverse ball and chain. You know, like a Fantastic Four, they canceled the Fantastic Four run when Marvel didn't have the rights, and then they announced a new series when they got them back. Like they're very much like beholden to the MCU at this point because they feel like that's what people are going to see. That's the public face of Marvel, and if they can maybe get little comics out of the side of it, then they will. Whereas I feel like they're really, you know, obviously we have no idea. Nothing has come out of the new DCU yet. But it does give the impression, at least, that the general onus of this whole bad boy is to kind of, you know, this is one thing. The comics fuel the movies fuel video games, the video games fuel the comic books, so on and so forth, and a nice like round robin. You know, by the same token, you know, not only did Jim Lee start to put like, here's the source material stuff for trailers that have come out, but, you know, Gunn being so, you know, fan forward on Twitter and literally stopping to answer questions whenever he can. When they announced the DCU stuff, he specifically highlighted comic books that are inspiring the upcoming slate, like stuff like The Authority and Supergirl World of Tomorrow. Those books immediately went on Amazon's bestseller list. So, you know, it's a real, like, it's a give and take. It's not just this thing will do this. It really, you know, for better or worse, can spread the love around, can get people interested. And I could not agree with what you said more, which is just that if they are beloved graphic novels, there's a reason they're beloved by readers. And that, you know, I also don't want them to be chained to a story, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know, obviously they have a little bit of what's the word I'm looking for? Not levity. Have a little bit of like omnipresence. I don't know. Fucking be able to look outside of yourself and go, okay, that's overly silly even for comic book fans. Key example. This is not anything to do with the new DCU. Watchmen. They got rid of the big alien and just made it Dr. Manhattan. And there's a lot of comic fans that were mad about that. I thought it was a great move. I remember when I saw it in theaters. It's funny you bring that up because this is always the one thing I think of when I have this discussion within myself between like source material or, staying strictly to it as doctrine or not. And I remember I was like the fucking angry basement dweller in the theaters. Like, oh, they fucked it up. And like over the years, the more I think about it, I'm like, that is the best fucking move that they could have done with making that adapted to, like a movie rather than a comic book. It really was genius. God, that movie's so fucking good. I mean, it really worked so well, mostly because so many of the themes of that book are, Ozymandias trying to make Dr. Manhattan feel alienated more and more. And so, to make him the root of problems, or at least blame him in front of humanity, was such a great way to unify and make, and kind of help push that that ostracization. I don't even know if that's a word. I just made it up. To ostracize him. Fuck it.
Ostracize Osterman.
Ostracize, yeah, got him. Moving on. We're going to talk about this as a main topic, and normally I would push this to the end, but I'm just going to keep all the week in review stuff together. Sweet Tooth, which season 2 is out right now. We'll talk about episodes 1 and 2 in a minute. Was renewed for a third season already, and that third season will be its last. I don't know if this is a budgetary thing or if they only planned for 3 seasons or what, but it looks like, according to the Hollywood Reporter, they've already wrapped production on season 3. It looks like they might have filmed it simultaneously. So there's not a release date yet, but they did say the final season was coming soon. So, I mean, if you like the show and you want more of it, it sounds like you might be getting more a lot sooner than the gap between season 1 and season 2. I'm always a fan of shows that know when to end. So I'm hoping it's that kind of a thing as opposed to like, we're canceling you, but we'll see.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it's like, I haven't even finished season 2 yet. So I don't know like how much is going to be left at the end of season 2. I can't really speak to that. Right. I always love a show that just goes, all right, we said everything we're going to say. Let's not drag this out. Let's just end it where it can still be good. Yeah.
And I mean, we'll talk about it more later, but even in episode 2 of season 2, things seem very urgent right now.
Yeah. Things be happening and shit.
There's a lot of like we don't have any time left. Like you've got to do something, kill those damn kids. Fucking animal kids. Kill them. I'm just kidding.
They're so mean to him in the show. My God.
It's crazy. Like, can you imagine, like, not only animal cruelty, can you imagine being that mean to your dog if your dog could talk to you? Like, what kind of monster are you?
It's the only reason I beat my dog is because he can't talk back.
Right.
Beat the shit out of him. Who's he gonna tell? Nobody. That's how I get away with it. Can't humanize him
if he can't talk.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Anyway. This is a really random one-off, but I wanted to do it to ask you. I didn't know Derek when Cloverfield came out.
No, not even close.
Did you like that movie?
I actually did. What's funny is like I don't remember a whole lot of it, but I had a weird cult following. I was like one of those. Like I was really, and the whole Slusho weird campaign going on alongside of it. Like,
yeah,
I was really into that. And then I totally fell. I saw the other ones. I saw Cloverfield Lane and. Was it like Cloverfield Paradox or something? Came out like a couple of years ago.
I don't think I saw Paradox. That was the one that was in space.
Yeah.
I don't think I watched Paradox.
I watched the second 2 like one time each, but the first one I watched a bunch, and it's weird. Like I don't really remember it at all. I was very young when it came out, and I fucking loved it. And they're doing another one. Like
it looks like it. Yeah.
I mean, so cool. I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's the point. So, first and foremost, I thought 10 Cloverfield Lane was a fucking gem.
It was great.
It was so, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like soft-spoken. Like, you didn't know exactly what was going on, and then it's kind of very, malicious how John Goodman's character's, like, personality came out, and you realize they're kind of trapped. And
well, what was interesting, if I remember it correctly, what was interesting about it is, like, he was obviously he like kidnapped her, but he truly in his head believed that he was like protecting her and like he was the thing that was stopping her from getting
that's why it
killed
was
or whatever.
insidious, because he didn't come off as overly like just like a villain.
Yeah. He
like,
thought he was doing the right thing.
Yeah, it was like, I'm gonna suffocate you to death with my hug, but it's because I love you. Yes. So you mentioned the Slush Show website, whether or not that was an intentional connection to this article. Good job. The Slush Show website is once again active after being all offline for some time. Just to give everybody some background, in 2007, before the release of the film, the original Cloverfield movie, website for a fictional drink appeared and had like an interactive game. I don't remember ever fucking with it, but I remember hearing about it.
Mm-hmm.
And that website is live again. So whether or not, there have been rumors that J.J. Abrams' Bad Robot Studios and Paramount are working on a direct sequel to the original Cloverfield. And Paramount kind of has no reason not to. Like, I think the first one, I have numbers right here. Cloverfield was a smash hit, took in $172 million against a $25 million budget. And 10 Cloverfield Lane earned $108 against a $15 million budget. So, like, yeah, they made fucking money.
Yeah.
And there's just, money talks. So we'll see. Also, they were just both good.
Yeah. Well, I remember in the first one, there was a part where, like, it was all found footage, of course. And there's a part on, like, a bridge. I'm going way back, where, like, the guy holding the camera sees another guy holding a camera, and they, look at each other at the same time for a second. And the big rumor back then was that the second one was supposed to be from that guy's, his found footage. That just, like, is a memory that just sprouted in my head that I totally forgot was there. Yeah. So I wonder if that's the direction they would go in. I know there's, like, no news about this whatsoever, so I'm literally just, shooting the shit. That's why we have a podcast. But I'm kind of over found footage, and by kinda, I mean completely over found footage. So hopefully they don't go that route.
That was in like the fucking thick of it. Too.
Yeah.
That was when I don't remember how close to Blair Witch that was, but in my head they like came out at the same time.
Yeah. It's probably like 10 years apart.
But like, yeah. So
did you see? I actually think we probably talked about this in the show way back in the beginning. I think it's called Chronicles or something like that.
Yeah, Chronicle.
Chronicle, yeah. That was a pretty fucking tight found footage movie.
The kids that had superpowers.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That was Josh Trank, who got the directing job for Fantastic Four off of the success of that film. Obviously, everyone knows that movie was a pile of garbage, but Chronicle was great.
Yeah.
I thought it was really good. I'm glad you brought it up. Cloverfield came out in 2008. When did...
Blair Witch was like 99, 2000.
I feel like I think it's like 2000. I feel like you're right. 99.
Yeah.
Wow.
A totally different millennium.
Okay. The difference, the age gap between those two movies is still twice as old as my son. Think about it that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Moving on. This is kind of a bummer for people who love, I don't know, just film and TV in general. It's also a bummer for the writers, because this is the second time since I've been alive that I remember there's another Writers Guild strike for, pay and benefits and all that stuff. And everyone deserves to fight for what the fuck they make. So good on you guys. They are officially on strike since May 2nd. I'm not sure how it's going, but they were unable to reach an agreement for money and benefits and all that good stuff. The last strike, hilariously, we're going right back to Cloverfield, was in 2007, 2008. And according to this article, which is from Slash Film, its impact can still be seen in the movies and television shows that were being produced at the time. Recalling what it was like to make Quantum of Solace with only the bare bones of a script, Daniel Craig said, "We were fucked." There was a lot of movies and TV shows back then that did not go through very well. Andor season 2 is filming right now, and you may be thinking, well, if their filming writing is done, that's not how it works. They will write all the way through a season to touch things up, to some things that might not feel right. Well, now that they're actually putting them, pen to paper or actors to film in this case. Showrunner Tony Gilroy for that said the scripts were locked 2 days before the strike began. Not because of the strike, but because of our thing rhymed with the strike. There's been A lot of things that will be delayed as a result. The Blade film starring Mahershala Ali, which feels like it can't catch a fucking break because it was already delayed once, and now it's going to be delayed due to this writer's strike. Is going to get delayed. This is going to be a big one for Derek. I know he's really upset. Cobra Kai season 6 is going to be. I didn't even know they were doing another season. I thought the last one was the last.
I thought
season.
they were only up to like 3. I didn't know there was 6 of them. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, this one's actually a bummer. Daredevil Born Again is going to end up being delayed. Mm-hmm. Daredevil Born Again is only 2 months into an 8-month shoot, which is comprised of 18 episodes. It's a massive season. I remember us being so excited about that because we get to go back and hang out with some of our favorite small screen characters. We'll see. Evil season 4. I've never seen that. I heard it was good. I think we were going to check it out at one point. I don't think we ever did. A bunch of different TV shows. SNL. Who gives a shit, right? Here's the other big one. Stranger Things season 5. I don't know how far into production they are, but the Duffer brothers posted on Twitter, said, "Duffer's here. Writing does not stop when filming begins," echoing what I said earlier. They're echoing me, just so you're all clear. They're stealing from me. While we're excited to start production with our amazing cast and crew, it is not possible during this strike. We hope a fair deal is reached soon. It's good that they're back in the writers, because a lot of people get kind of anxious when the shit they like doesn't come out when they want it to. Yeah, and just like I said, just a bunch of TV shows. I'm gonna tell you a secret.
Hit me with it.
Sam and I started watching Yellow Jackets.
Oh, someone was telling me about Yellow Jackets. I think Scooter was.
It's very good so far.
I think I've heard it was really good. Another one on here, Severance, I heard was very good. I haven't checked it out just yet.
I feel like we should add some Yellow Jackets to the docket at some point. Maybe next week.
We'll do. Is the entire thing out? Is the entire season out?
I think 1 and 2 is out.
Okay. Somebody was telling me about it.
Or if season 2 is not done, I feel like it's a decent way in. So by the time you would catch up, it would probably be done.
Right.
Yeah, we started it, and it's the kind of thing where we keep looking at each other throughout the day. We're like, I want to go watch another episode.
Yeah.
Can we do it right now? Can we leave Archer on the floor and let him cry, and we'll just watch it?
Just do it. Just put a basket over him or something. I don't care about I have to say something. I don't care about the overwhelming majority of the things that are listed here. That doesn't mean the movement's not important.
Right.
But I'm not like, oh, Loot season 2. Oh, I was really Hacks season 3.
Yeah.
I don't even, first time I heard of a lot of these.
Yeah.
Preliminary writing on Andor is done. I don't understand what you're saying. Writing doesn't stop when shooting begins, but it looks like the meat and potatoes of it is done. So I'm happy about that. I hope it all goes well. I will say this: Blade is going to be one of those doomed movies. It's going to be like what's his name, Jodorowsky's Dune back in like the 70s or whatever, was like hyped up to be the biggest thing in the world. It just fucking never ended up happening. I guarantee you, that's what Blade is going to be. Like, it's just like one bad thing after the next. The next thing that's going to happen within 3 months, Mahershala Ali, which, by the way, listening to last week's episode when I said his name, I combined it into one thing. I called him Mahershala. So just so everyone knows, I know that there are 2 different. It's Mahershala and then Ali. I want everyone to know that I know that. I just slur my speech because I'm excited to get all these thoughts out. The next thing that's going to happen, Mahershala, he's going to walk. I feel it in my bones. He's going to be like, fuck this. And then it's all going to come tumbling down.
Oh, tumbling down. I can't go low enough because I got a baby voice. Oh,
but yeah, get writers, get what you want, keep fighting the fight, and then give me my good TV back. The bad TV can die. Stop writing that shit. But the good TV, come back and write that stuff.
Yeah, only come back with the good stuff.
Yeah. Like, whoever was on Book of Boba Fett, I hope they get laid off for the rest of their career. I hope it's over.
Except for the guy who decided to toss in the 2 episodes of Mando. They were good.
Right. That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah, okay. So, all right, look, we're almost wrapped up already with our weekend review, which is doing good. We're at a half hour. We're cruising. The trailers are going to go by in the blink of an eye, and we spend as much time as we want on the main topics and call it a day. This is a fun one. So I think we talked about this last episode, which is French for episode.
Episode.
Tears of the Kingdom, the new Zelda game, slated to come out next week, leaked 2 weeks early. As you can imagine, Nintendo, the Sue crazy company that they are, has been very angry and looking for someone to yell at very loudly. So they decided they were going to go after Switch emulation. That's kind of a huge super broad umbrella to go after. And honestly, I don't know how much legal footing they have here. The tools themselves don't necessarily do any harm. There's one part in here that sounds like it has any kind of merit for intellectual property claims. But honestly, like emulators in and of themselves do not break copyright law. Emulate. It's like torrent programs. Torrent programs in and of themselves are not stealing stuff. It's the people using them. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those gray areas where it's like you can't blame the tools, even though people might end up using those to steal your shit.
Yeah.
And by the way, I completely, please don't sue me, advocate for people being able to emulate their shit. If you buy your stuff, if you have a valid license, there is zero opposition to people emulating it. And there's a valid point to be made, whether or not Nintendo wants to agree with it, that emulation, much like piracy for films and TV, does not take a big chunk out of their bottom line. Because this could be debated. You could say a bunch of shithead kids who don't have jobs will just steal everything. And that's true to an extent. But me personally, if I can play a movie off of a streaming service that I pay for, I will do that. It's less hassle for me. It's going to work easier. I don't have to go find a download that I trust, pull it up. Even the Plex server can sometimes be more of a pain in the ass. You ever tried casting that to a TV? It's a nightmare, at least for me. So there's an argument to be made that if I were to torrent or pirate something, movies or games, I wasn't going to pay to see it anyway or play it. And I know that you may say, well, then good, you shouldn't be able to touch it. But I also would argue that you're probably not losing out on revenue from that person if they weren't going to do it either way. So that being said, here's the gist. There's a component of the Switch emulators that it uses it's called lock and key. And I'll explain it in a second when I find the part that I had up and then it disappeared on me. The utility is called Lockpick. It's been around for years. It's a big part of the Switch emulation process. It allows users to dump their console's unique encryption keys to their PC to play ROM dumps of Switch games on emulators such as Re-Jinx or Yuzu. Yuzu is a super popular one. While emulation in general is often associated with piracy, that's like this application, because it takes Nintendo's intellectual property and allows you to take that unique encryption key and put it on your PC to be able to play those games. That's where they're arguing that they shouldn't be able to do that. They're saying the use of lockpicks with a modified Nintendo Switch console allows users to bypass our technological measures for video games. It bypasses the console's TPMs, which is a trusted platform modules. Desktop computers have those too. Sorry for getting overly techno babbling on this. To permit unauthorized access to, extraction of, or decryption of cryptographic keys. Basically, they're saying like this is encrypted for a reason. You're not supposed to be able to get this, and this tool allows you to get around that, and that's violating our intellectual property. I think they have an argument there, and I don't honestly think this is going to make a bit of difference for Nintendo, because there are dozens and dozens of programs out there that do this, and it's going to be like playing whack-a-mole.
And the thing is, the frustrating thing is they have the amount of money, they have such a massive industry that they really can hurt a lot of people, and they know that. And what they want to do is they want to make people, I think the only way that it works is that they actually make people scared and make examples out of people like they've done in the past a million times. But it's frustrating because, this is another thing that I'm on both sides of the aisle on. I don't know how else to describe it, but like, of course I know that piracy, it is stealing. And you're right. There's no way to prove that if I didn't have free access to something, I would have spent however much it is. There's no way you can possibly prove that. In fact, it's very likely that I wouldn't have, because the whole reason I'm getting it for free is because I don't want to spend that kind of money on it. On the other hand, it's like, do I think that, and this is like the fucking topic of our generation, and that's like, is stealing ever okay? And I think, in my opinion, I think in some cases it is. Like, I think that if your fucking child is starving and it's between you getting cuffs on your hands and, so they can have a bottle of formula or something, it's okay. It's morally okay. It's not legally okay, but I wouldn't think any less of you for doing that. But there's a difference between stealing formula for your kid who's starving and stealing a video game when you have money to spend on video games. But still, it's just like, if you look at Game of Thrones, it's a matter of accessibility. And we've bitched about Nintendo and what their prices cost 100 million times in the show. There's no need to retread that. But if you look at Game of Thrones when it was on HBO, and before HBO Go, and HBO Now, and HBO Max, and all these things that are streamlined, easy, here's, we'll take money, we'll give you these features. It was such a fucking nightmare to get set up with whatever HBO's app was called. You had to have a cable subscription first, and then you put a key through a thing, which then they had to verify and send you a thing for the app. It was like a fucking nightmare. Yeah. So around Game of Thrones season, I think like 3 or 4 is when it truly blew up. That's when torrents just like it skyrocketed of the show.
Yeah.
And so the show itself blew up, and it's always a pain in the ass. Even like if you have a trusted source to download something from, to pirate something from, you always feel a little like, but what if? Like, what if there's some fucking rootkit in there or whatever?
Yeah.
Like bloatware or something. And so HBO recognized, I think, we have something that's super popular, like immensely, ridiculously popular. And if we just make this more accessible to people, maybe they'll just do it the honest way. So they made it cheap, and so many people wanted it that they like made it back in dividends, and the entire platform just exploded into what is now HBO Max. And it's like if you price things fairly and you make them easy to access, people don't want to steal it. It's when you lock it behind these absurd price points, and especially locking it on one console that fucking sucks ass. Dude, of course I'd rather play it on my PC where they already have a crack of it that's running at 60 FPS. Like, why would I opt for an overpriced game from 2 generations ago when you're not willing to compromise $1 on games that are fucking 5 years old? Like, why would I want to compromise with you? It just doesn't make any sense. Of course, it's not going to go the way we want it to. They're going to sue the shit out of like everyday people, and their plan is to just scare people, and it'll probably work for a little while, and it'll just creep back to where it is now. It's just I don't know. The cycle continues.
Well, right along with what you just said about that, it's mostly about them trying to scare people into not doing it. This article says, the escalating threats could have a broader chilling effect and have already convinced at least one emulation team to stop their efforts. The duo behind Skyline Emulator, which is a Switch emulator for Android devices, announced they would be shutting down development. And they posted today, it is with great sadness we bring you this news. And they cite, Nintendo has recently issued a DMCA takedown notice against Lockpick RCM, which will likely come into effect Monday. Lockpick is a core part of legally dumping keys from the Switch. They claim that it circumvents their copyright protection and therefore violates copyright. We find ourselves in a position where we are potentially violating copyrights by continuing to develop it. So it's not even that they were right and that anyone awarded any kind of verdict to Nintendo. Just by the threat of doing it, people were like, we don't want any part of that because we don't want to get sued for a bunch of fucking money. I gotta tell you, it's a scummy move. Clearly meant to intimidate people, and I'm definitely going to be emulating Tears of the Kingdom, Nintendo. I want you to know that, but I'm going to be doing it. I'm going to be doing it legally with a key that I purchased from you. I'm going to fucking pay you for it, even though I hate your platform. I hate it. I hate your platform so much. I'm still going to buy a key, and then I'm going to emulate it on my computer. And if I pay for that game, then in my estimation, you can't tell me where to play it. And if you want to, you can eat shit, and please don't take all my money. Okay, let's move on. Trailers.
Trailer.
So yeah,
trailer.
Correction. Trailer should be the title of the episode. Episode 9 trailer, parenthesis S. Oppenheimer. It's the only one we got. It's a fucking good one. I'm going to spoil it.
Sloppy Toppenheimer.
That's the name of the episode.
Oh, I sucked your dick and you came. How could this have happened?
Oh no, it's all over. Okay. Dude, this trailer's fucking great. I want to.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Sloppenheimer, name of the episode. I'm writing it so I don't forget. Sloppenheimer. I'm gonna think of a thumbnail now. So this, I don't like rehashing conversations we've had. Obviously, it's bound to happen as we revisit things before they release officially, and then even after they come out, if they're good, we'll reference them posthumously. Sounds like they died, but you know what I mean, after they release. This is an event where I'm going to bring up a conversation that you and I have had where I feel like we both started to feel the same way about Christopher Nolan's fantasy pieces, Inception, Tenet, where we were kind of getting sick of the screenwriting, and then we decided to watch Dunkirk, and we're like, oh shit, okay, so if he's got like a real life historical event to dramatize, it's probably going to be really fucking good because he's a great filmmaker. He is. I mean, you can hate on him all you want for storytelling, and believe me, I do. His movies look beautiful, and they're well shot, well framed, all that good stuff. He's got a good director of photography. He's got a good DP. That being said, this trailer for Oppenheimer is really fucking good, and Cillian Murphy looks like he's doing an awesome fucking job in it. Yeah. And it just looks really good. I can't wait to see that. I really can't wait to see it.
I don't know if I just haven't been paying attention. I had no fucking idea Matt Damon was in this movie. I had no idea that he was in it.
I didn't either. Yeah.
And it seems like he's not just in it. It seems like he's really in it. Like he's like a co-star in the movie.
He's
not
in
just
a lot
like in
of
one
this.
scene. He's like in the whole trailer. Yeah. No, it looks great. What else do you say? It looks like a Nolan film. The shots are all wide and in the highest fidelity known to man fucking kind. The costumes are crisp. The lighting is great. It just looks good. It has a very good. It was really unsettling the way that they used the not Richter scale. What's the radiation one called? That one, whatever.
Oh,
I think it's a B.
It's
whatever. It's a scale.
What reads radiation?
The way they used that in the soundtrack of the trailer to
Geiger counter.
Geiger, that's it. Not a B, a G. My G.
BGs. BJs.
That's the sloppy top.
Yeah.
Sloppy Toppenheimer. There it is.
Sloppy Toppenheimer. Oh,
no, it looks very good. I agree.
Right down for again. Sloppy Toppenheimer. That's really good. I really like that. I gotta think of a thumbnail. Okay, yeah, no, it looks great. So yeah, Matt Damon is, dude, every single time. This is not me making fun of the mentally challenged. It is me referencing Team America. Every time I hear Matt Damon's name, I want to go Matt Damon.
Yeah,
because
I think it's pretty common.
Yeah, unfortunately for Matt Damon. But yeah, the billing on this movie is Cillian Murphy, Emily Blunt, Matt Damon. So he got third billing. He's even billed above Robert Downey Jr., who I didn't know was in this until like the last quarter of this trailer. What I like most about this is it looks like it's going to obviously cover the development of the atomic bomb, all these really interesting facts about it. Like they built this whole little town, and it looks they're doing like an Avengers recruitment around the world of like, we got to get the smartest people. We got to bring them all here. They're only going to work well if their families are there. We got to throw up this town overnight, and it's going to be the center for building an atomic fucking bomb. This is not spoilers. This is how the story happened. I don't know all the nitty gritty details, which is A, why I'm so excited to see this movie. And B, because it looks like it's going to cover the buildup and then some of the aftermath and asking these really big questions that ultimately haunted Oppenheimer for the rest of his life about questions like, did I just create a weapon that will eventually destroy humanity one day? And those are not easy things, I would think, for a man to have to grapple with. I think that sometimes after I take a particularly massive shit, but well, sorry, I'm so stupid. I started laughing before I even got the joke out. Like a fucking 12-year-old who's about to tell the same fart joke. Chemical weapons is what I was getting at.
What I liked about the trailer is that, like, the meme of this movie has become like, hey, Oppenheimer, will you make us a bomb that kills hundreds of thousands of people? Okay, sure. And then he's like, oh my God, how did this happen? It's like kind of making fun of, like, of course that's what it did. You made it to do that. But I think that this trailer was kind of his way of saying, like, look, we're going to show you the social pressures that he was feeling that made him feel like he had to make this bomb. Like,
yeah,
it's not like he just went like, I want to kill a bunch of people. And then when he did, he was like, shucks, I did it. I did the thing that I did.
No, they're literally going, dude, you could end the war tomorrow. You can save millions of lives. Like you could, and it's true from a certain point of view.
Yeah.
It's also true that he could kill millions of people. Looks good. Comes out in July 21st, 2023. It's getting close now. 2 months away. Little over 2 months. But we're going to move on to main topics because despite having a short sode, we're running dangerously low on time.
Why don't we push Barry too till we're done? What do you think?
That's fine. Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's do Sweet Tooth first. Episodes 1 and 2. I actually don't have a ton to say about this, and it's not actually a bad thing. We talked offline, so I believe you feel close to the same way. But this the first 2 episodes evoke identical feelings that I had for season 1, which is that some of it's like really cheesy, and I'm like, okay, but then some of it's got some of it's good, some of it's really good. A moment to stand out. I know you said you love someone who stays behind to sacrifice themselves. The friend, I forget her name. I want to say Judy. Maybe Lisa, I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Yes, dude. Yes.
Well, she stays behind to give the girl a chance to escape, and she's like opens up the door with a fucking flamethrower, and you know she's not making it out of there. And I was like, oh, I bet Derek is fucking jerking off to this scene.
Absolutely, dude. I was like, I have goosebumps just thinking about that part. She opens the door with the flamethrower. Should have knocked.
Yeah, and that line, although cheesy, came off pretty cool because she was a badass about it.
Yeah.
It's this interesting thing where like I feel like I know where the story's going. Like obviously Gus is the key to this. Like he's the first one. I don't know if it's gonna be like Sadie's whining. I thought it was one of the kids. I don't know if it's gonna be like, you know, his birth is the reason there's a contagion, but I feel like it's a little odd. But like I said earlier, it feels very urgent right now. So I'm curious how the story is gonna progress. A standout character for me is still the doctor being forced to experiment on the kids.
Yeah, dude.
His story is really good, and he's playing that really tough area where he's being forced to do really shitty things at threat of his loved one being killed, and you can tell he doesn't want to. He's trying everything with Gus to get answers a different way, and they even showed some of Jeopard Big Man's backstory about why he decided to join up with the Last Men. I thought it's great. I like him a lot. Him feeling lost after he loses his wife and son, and he's just looking for answers, and they promise him answers, and it feels like it'd be so easy in that position to make the same choices. But yeah, how you feeling about it so far?
Same. It's for everything that I'm like, oh, this show's so corny. Something happens that's really sincere that I love, and that was the same thing with season 1. I remember, I think I watched the first episode of season 1 and wasn't into it, and just after I got like 2 or 3, like I just kept finding things to go like, all right, I'll watch one more, and the next thing I knew, I watched the whole season. And it's really same thing here. It has this. There's this phenomenon. I don't know if this is a well-known thing. I don't know, and I'm pretending it's just something that's unique to me. But I noticed this thing called season 2 syndrome, where like season 1 of something comes out and it's good and people like it. So then season 2 gets a bigger budget and everybody's like way more touched up and has like, you know, concealer on, and all the lighting is just much more. Everything looks like a Michael Bay movie. Good thing here was that season 1 had season 2 syndrome already right out of the gate, so there was no adjustment period. Yeah. Everything was already kind of Michael Bay-ish looking. No, I like it. I think it's what I like about it is that it sits in this sweet spot between like it's a kids movie, but it's like the Goonies. Remember you watched the Goonies when you were a kid, and obviously it's a kids movie, but every now and then they'd say the S word and there were skeletons and people died, and you'd go like, oh, this isn't a little kids movie. This is just a kids movie. It's in that sweet spot where it's like there's fucked up shit happening, right? Like there's kids being turned into goop and injected into people to stave off the virus that's like killing 99% of humanity. Like it's not like it's light material. Like very heavy shit is going on. There's just a sense of childlike wonder behind it because of course your MC is a kid. Thank God they must have listened to the podcast, because the fucking front porch wisdom guy who like talks in the beginning and the end of every episode now only says like 4 words. He's like, Gus is on his way in, and like that's it. It's not like a whole fucking monologue. It's still so cringe. It makes me want to skip right past it. But no, it's very it's cool. Between. I agree. I like Jeopard. I feel like that guy has like Keanu Reeves syndrome, where he's like not a good actor, but you just like him so much that you're like, I'll pretend you're a good actor. Yeah, because I just like seeing you.
They took the first take there, didn't they? It's okay. Keep going.
Yeah. We'll keep it rolling. No, I really like it. I look forward to the rest of it.
Same. I was contemplating watching more last night and decided to hold off because we have the whole week or more than that. We don't have to finish it, but you know what the fuck I mean. Okay,
I didn't watch the last 2 episodes of Visions, by the way. I never got to them. I watched. Oh, okay. Yeah. So I watched most of it.
Yeah. We can talk about it holistically. Just what we've watched, what we watched together. Okay, so Star Wars Visions is the other thing we're talking about this week. Another, what is it, 8 episodes? Is that what it is?
I think 8,
of 15-minute shorts from various animation studios. We've talked about this before. We talked about season 1 before. Well, just to get started, season 2 is incredible. I feel like season 2 is front loaded a little bit, and I'm not saying I didn't like the episodes in the later half of the season. I'm saying I just liked the ones in the first half more, for me personally. The first episode, the Sith episode, is a banger. It's gorgeous. The art is incredible. The art really does it, but it's also a cool story. The second one, the art is very cartoon. I'm forgetting the names of the episodes. So the second one is it's very cartoonish art style. I'm gonna actually pull up the names so people know what the fuck I'm talking about. And it's the one that you and I were talking, and I was like, dude, holy shit, because this whole episode, season 2. So the first one's Sith. The second one's called Screecher's Reach. It's these little 15-minute wrapped up stories. The whole episode is about a young girl out on an adventure with her friends, and there's like this legendary cave that has like a ghost in it. And obviously, it's Star Wars universe. We know there's something there, as opposed to kids just having an active imagination. But you can kind of imagine kids doing this regardless of what fantasy universe they're in, right? Kids are always drawn to shit like that, ghost stories around the campfire. So they go there. Lo and behold, there is some kind of, what's a spirit, maybe a Sith spirit or something. And this young girl with red hair, she's got this pendant that she keeps holding for like bravery. And you really get the impression that she's got these noble intentions. And the fucked up part is I think she does. She thinks she's doing the right thing. The whole episode gets turned on its head when it turns out that this apparition has a lightsaber. It's a Sith, I guess, and is of the shriek language. All it does is fucking scream at her. She kills it to get away. And when she gets out, a starship lands, and it's not a Jedi. It's a Sith who was whispering shit to this little girl about go here, do this, be brave, and I'll take you away from this planet. And she ditches her fucking friends to get a better life. And she's like, I'm sorry. And she's going to go be a Sith apprentice. And I thought it was, this is my favorite episode still, I think this is my favorite one, regardless of how cool some of the other ones get. I fell in love with this, somewhat because it surprised me and somewhat because it was just an awesome little 15-minute cohesive story. I'm rambling. There's a couple more episodes I want to bring up, but I wanted to get your thoughts on it overall so far.
No, I think it's great. I liked season 1 too. I think that season 1 as well, I should say. I think that what makes it cool is that it takes. I know last time we talked about season 1, I likened it to the Halo animated thing where they did the same thing. It was like 10 episodes, different studio for every episode. The Matrix did it.
Yeah.
And what is cool is that when you do something like that, you can take the bare bones of what makes Star Wars, but then just totally reimagine it and do something unique. But it's not like you're straying from the source material and creating a whole movie or a show. It's a 15-minute short, so it's okay to sort of experiment, in that way. That's what I think is cool about it. So with season 1, it was very hit or miss. The episodes were either very good or very stupid. And I think, again, I haven't watched the last 2 of season 2, but I think that season 2 has been more consistently good. Like, whereas there were episodes of season 1 that I was like, no, this isn't for me. I don't really think I felt that way about any of them so far in 2.
Yeah.
So of course some are better than others. I really liked the first and second one as well. I think that my favorite one, it's tough. The one with the statue heads, which was animated by the same studio that did like Legend of Korra and The Last Airbender, was very, very good.
Journey to the Dark Head.
Journey to the Dark Head. That's it.
That was very good.
My favorite, I think, was the dancer one.
I should have known you like that one. You fucking weep.
The dancer one, which was after that, I think is my favorite. There's like this rebel cell. They're like trying to trick. She basically gets her kid taken away from her by the Empire when it's a baby. She thinks that she has the dude who stole her kid cornered, but it turns out it's her kid. It's very, I'm not going to explain the whole goddamn episode. Animated so fucking beautifully, scored beautifully. It was just so emotionally intense for something that was less than 20 minutes long. I was like amazed how invested I was in this story. It was just so minute. And the only other one that I really want to mention again, because I haven't finished it, is I think it's the studio. It looks like it's the studio who does Wallace and Gromit. It was called I Am Your Mother.
Yeah.
And I just liked in that one, I saw the title I Am Your Mother, and I'm like, okay, well, they're doing a play on I Am Your Father, so this is going to be a heavy thing, except it's the mom instead of the dad. And it wasn't heavy. It was very lighthearted. It was still very human. It's about like, go away, mom, you're embarrassing me, and then learning to just accept each other. And, you know, and in the end, she's like, of course I showed up. I am your mother. And it was like not this heavy thing. It totally threw me off, like threw my expectations out the window. It was just this fun, short, sweet, lighthearted, cute, heartwarming episode. I was just like, I love this, man. Like, this is so. I've said this before on the show, but like I'm getting to this point now where the mainstream Star Wars stuff, I can't help but say I'm losing interest in it. Like Mandalorian, we talked about last week or the week before, and it's still good, but it is losing my interest. The mainstream movies, losing my interest. I don't really
mainstream media.
Mainstream media.
I got a gun. Losing my interest.
All I want to talk about is blasters. The new Rey trilogy coming out. You know, I hope it's good, but I'm not excited for it. Yeah. Not that all the sort of like headliner stuff doesn't interest me, like Ahsoka, I'm very excited for. But I'm realizing now, like the offshoot stuff of Star Wars, there's so many little fucking nuggets of gold in them.
Yeah.
And I actually think I already mourned this last episode, so I won't retread it. But it's just a shame that I understand why people are like, nah, I'm done with Star Wars. I'm not, but I understand why people are. And It just sucks that I'm finding these things, and I want to be like, buddy, just watch this show. Like, you might like it like I do. You might reignite your love for Star Wars like I have, but I know they won't listen to me. And so
I wish I could rewind time to 2021 when I was telling a younger Derek how much I loved Rebels, and he was telling me how he wasn't going to watch it. I just can't get into it, man. I can't get into it.
It's for fucking kids, dude. Yeah.
Nah, man.
I'm like not too far into season 4, but I'm putting work into it.
I can't wait for you to finish it. Last one I'll bring up is in the Stars. It's kind of sandwiched between Screecher's Reach and I Am Your Mother. It's the 3rd episode. It's about 2 sisters who are fighting against Imperials who have ruined their ruined their family and their planet. It's what the Imperials were known for. They go to a planet, they suck up all the resources. And it's this very cute story of like they're 2 kids who are the descendants of Force sensitive apparent Jedi who was on the planet, who dies in the struggle against the Empire. And it's just them trying to survive. They're trying to go in and steal water. That's all the fuck they want. They're not trying to save the planet. They want water to live. And they get in, and of course the little girl is all gung ho, and the older sister's cautious because she knows that what they lost, or I should say, fully comprehends what they lost, and the situation they're in. And the younger one gets them into trouble, and the older one is forced to reconnect with her Force powers. And this one got me. I didn't like, not like an ugly cry, but like it made me tear up.
Yeah.
The sisters connecting over their refound connection. I know I hate using the same word multiple times in different ways. And I just thought it was beautiful. The fucking little light art on the rocks. I don't even know what that is, but that coming back at the end. And I know it was so cliche. It was cathartic though. And it was very juice. Animation again, gorgeous. All the episodes have very good animation styles. They all have a very unique voice. There's a couple cool ones towards the end. There's a very heavily Bollywood inspired episode called The Bandits of Golak. And then 2 more that were okay, but didn't like reach out and grab me. That's why I said I like the front end of the season more. But heavy recommend. Go watch them if you're even a passive Star Wars fan. I think there's a little bit of something cool in there for everybody. Definitely some cool lightsaber fights. The one you're talking about, Journey to Darkhead, has a fantastic lightsaber fight in it, and I think you'll enjoy it a lot. And with that being said, we're episode 98, Sloppy Toppenheimer, is wrapped up. And
I just want to correct you. You called me a weeb earlier. Legend of Korra and Last Airbender. That's an American animation studio. Okay,
it's true, but we all know that anime is not relegated to Japan. It's coming for you. Okay, Derek, where can everybody find you at?
It's a cupboard for you.
We have fun.
They can find me on Twitch and Twitter. I actually, when I'm done finals week, I have about 2.5 weeks off of work, and I think I'm going to just use my spare time to stream. Do it. Should be doing a good little chunky chunk pretty soon here. I haven't been able to do it as much as I've wanted to lately, again, because of school. Twitch and Twitter at Dr. GloomMD. That's DRGLOOMMD. Where can they find you, Christophe?
Nowhere, because I haven't been streaming at all. But if you're curious, you can follow me at Crispy Mana, CRISPYMANA, or Mana if you're Derek. Mm-hmm. Twitter and Twitch.
Hey, Ron.
There's Ron. There's Ronaldo. Hello, Ronaldo. Hi, how are you? Right at the end. Sneaking in. Yeah, you can find me there. I have not been streaming. I probably will not be for a couple weeks unless it's a rando like weekend stream with the boys or something. We'll see. Just until the little one's not so little anymore. Yeah. It's tough. It's tough. It's tough.
It's tough. It's tough out there.
All right. We'll see you guys next week.
See you then, Chiefs and Chiefstriston. I don't know what the female version is.
Chiefstress?
Chiefstress.
Okay. Goodbye.